dead.
No.
This would be Thursday, November 10th, and we're going to do a quick take a look at the story seasons, and then we're going to get into the Underworld and take a little tour down there. We do have a Veterans Day convo tomorrow, which means we're going to have shorter class periods, and we're going to get a chance to go get together and listen to band people do charity shoe drive-ins on Tuesday. Then, if you're at home, I have finished doing all the Turn-It-In essays, and they are posted on there if you want to see what you got, or any of my comments. You can go take a look there. And with Hades being lonely, let's see, back to this. He decides to kidnap a woman because he's not good at talking to ladies, but there's no people in his kingdom, so who does he have to go talk to? Zeus. Goes and talks to Zeus. Zeus goes, yeah, knock yourself out. Go steal yourself a woman. So he does. What's the name of the girl he kidnaps?
Hera.
Something with a P that I don't know how to pronounce.
Persephone. And it does look like Persephone because it has the word phone in it, but it's like Persephone, but without the T, so it's Persephone. And he kidnaps Persephone, and things go well, except that apparently Persephone's mom misses her. And who's Persephone's mom? Demeter. And Demeter apparently loves her child, whatever. And she's like, I want my baby back. Baby back, baby back. And so she goes and talks to Zeus and says, bring me back my child. And Zeus goes, no, you're out of luck, go get a new one. And she's like, I don't want to get a new one. I put time into that one. So Demeter decides to pout and say, I'm not going to do my job. And what is her job?
Grain harvest.
And so when she doesn't do her job, it changes the world. And what happens to the world? We get snow. So what gets created? Winter time. So the snow comes in, crops die off, winter gets invented. And so Zeus goes, I don't care. Do your worst. Bring in the winter time. And she does. And then all of a sudden, Zeus does care. Because something he cares about stops. And what is Zeus?
Humans.
Not humans.
The Underworld.
Not the Underworld.
His children.
Not the children.
Mountains.
Land.
Food.
Food stops. He doesn't care about the food.
He cares about the meter. No, he cares.
Sacrifices. Why does he care about sacrificing
Because it's
stuff?
too cold.
It's like someone turning off his internet. All of a sudden his Twitter feed dies. He's like, whoa, now I'm involved. He's like, bring back my Twitter feed. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And she crosses her little arms and says, I'm not going to. And she goes, if you want your Twitter feed back, you need to bring my kid back. So he goes down to talk and he goes, all right, Hades, I was wrong. I'm going to end up needing to get that kid back in the first place. And Hades goes, sorry, I can't do it. Because while she was down there, she made a poor choice. And what poor choice did she make?
She ate the pomegranate.
She ate food while she was down there. And it turns out that there's a curse, or it's poisonous, depending on how you look on it. If you eat food in the underworld, you have to stay in the underworld, and you can't leave. And Hades goes, listen, bud, I'd love to give her back, but she kind of ate some food down here, so kind of I get to keep her. So Zeus goes and says, hey, did you eat food down here? And she's like, I did. I mean, I ate a little bit because I got really hungry because I can't go forever. He's like, well, what'd you eat? She's like, well, I ate some pomegranate seeds. He goes, did you eat the whole thing? She goes, no, I didn't eat the whole thing. He goes, well, how much did you have? And how much did she eat?
17.
And if you're unfamiliar with pomegranate, I was unfamiliar with pomegranate before I got into the story, but apparently they're super delicious. And since then, I've had them, and I've gotten them for my kids, and they're kind of nifty. Pomegranate, on the outside, the skin looks sort of like an orange, but it's red. And when you peel the skin off, like you would peel an orange, instead of slices, it has what looks like little berries. If you can imagine little tiny grapes or little tiny blueberries on the inside, and it's just full of them. You pop it open, you're like, and it spits out all these little, they're seeds, but they look like blueberries. She ate 7 of these little seeds that were inside of it. Ploppity, ploppity, ploppity. But because she did not eat an entire pomegranate, she does not have to stay down there forever. So Zeus goes and talks to Hades. He's like, hey, she didn't eat the whole thing. She only ate part of one. So how about she only has to spend part of the year with you? And Hades like, oh, all right, fine. He goes, she did eat 7 seeds. So because of that, she has to spend 7 months down with me. Zeus is like, all right, I'll go talk to Demeter. He's like, Demeter, your daughter made a poor choice. She ate food from the underworld, so she has to stay down. He's like, what? He goes, but I negotiated, and she gets to spend some of the year with you. Demeter's like, okay, I can handle that. At least she gets to spend some of the time with me. So Zeus sets it up where Persephone goes back and forth between the two of them. Well, Wetzel. You're waving at me. That's your question. You had a question. Never mind. So it goes back and forth between the two of them. Whenever they are together, whenever Persephone is with her mom, we get to have summertime because she makes everything grow, the world is happy, and things are good. But then Demeter realizes her daughter's leaving somewhat soon, and she gets a little bit depressed, stops doing her job, and what season do we get?
Winter.
Fall, yeah.
Y'all scare me. Fall. And then once they're together from there, then they're finally apart. And then once they're apart, Demeter gets depressed and sits around eating Haagen-Dazs ice cream and then watching Law & Order reruns or Grey's Anatomy reruns. Like, I'm not going to do anything besides sit here and be depressed. And what season do we get?
Winter.
That's where winter comes in. And then as it goes by, she realizes, you know what? My daughter's going to be home soon. I look all slovenly. I got to make the house look nice. I'm going to go put out some flowers and get some greenery going.
Spring.
And you get spring.
Summer.
And then finally they're together again. And they
Summer.
run around and they go to theme parks. And, and it becomes a never-ending circle. Really, technically, there's only 2 seasons. Them together and them apart. So the only 2 seasons are
Summer, spring, fall, and winter. Oh,
Winter
summer,
and
fall, winter, and spring.
those
said
are 4.
summer, winter.
and summer.
Summer and winter. So those are technically the only 2 real seasons that are there. Now that we've introduced how the Underworld works, let's go take a tour of it and start killing them.
I'm
So,
gonna die.
here's how it's going to work. Ooh, Macbeth, you're a student of the month. Let's kill you off first. And so, let's say Macbeth makes a poor choice by turning around to talk to Bomb while I'm reading the book out loud. And I get angry and I run over there and just whack her over the head and kill her. Whack! I'm like, you're gonna die! And now Macbeth is dead. The way the Greeks believed it worked is once Macbeth dies, that her soul pops up out of her body like a little ghost. I'm a real ghost. And at that point, it is a god's job to take her ghost down to the underworld. What god takes her down? Hermes. So Hermes comes by, grabs her, and takes her down to the underworld, or Hades. Well, he doesn't take her all the way to the underworld. There is a waiting room to the underworld that she has to go to, this giant underground cavern. And drops her off in this giant underground cavern, and she sort of floats down to the ground. Wooka, 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 wooka. When she hits the ground, and she sort of pops up, but she can't get to the underworld because there's something stopping her. There's this body of raging water that she cannot cross.
What's her name?
And what's it called?
What's her name?
Styx.
Styx.
And Styx was thought to be so poisonous, even dead people could not cross it. If Allie's like, I'm going to swim across, I can do it. And she runs over there and dives into the water. She's like, it hurts, birdie, birdie, bird, bird, bird. And she died. But she was already dead. No, she'd die again. And it's sort of like dying in a video game. You just restart the level. And she would reappear back over here in this area. And she'd have to start all over. Well, then how does she get across? There was a guy whose name was Charon, Charon, who was a boatman. And he was a titan, and his job was to take people from the waiting room down to the actual underworld. But he was greedy, and he would not do it for free. You had to give him something for him to take you across. What you had to give him?
Money. Food.
Close.
Sacrifice?
No, I agree. Think of that.
Money.
A gold coin.
Oh.
A drachma. And so 1 gold coin would get you across. So in order for Allie to go from the waiting room to the actual underworld, she has to give a gold coin, to Charon. Oh, Mr. Brovicast, she's dead. Where'd she get a gold coin? The way the Greeks believed it worked is there was sort of a connection between your actual dead body and your soul that was down in the underworld. So when Mama and Papa Macbeth decide it's time to bury her, when they put her in the ground, they open up her mouth like a little piggy bank. And they drop in a gold coin. Bink! And they shut her mouth again. When she gets to the underworld, that gold coin goes with her. And she gets down and she's like, bleh, gold coin. And she wipes it off, hands it over to Charon, and she's good to go. That allows her to cross from one side to the other. But let's say she doesn't have a gold coin with her. Instead of me killing her in class, she's walking home from school one day and she gets hit by a bus. The bus like, and little bits of her go everywhere. And Mama and Papa Macbeth are like, we can't bury our daughter because all we have is this toenail. And it's not going to work. So now, what are they going to do with the gold coin? Nothing. You can't give one to her. She is now stuck in this little underground waiting area, and she just has to wander around. It was thought that there was a waiting line, that sometimes Charon would happily take you if there was an empty spot on his boat. He'd be like, who's been waiting the longest? And as years go by, eventually Allie would be like, I've been here for so long, please let me go. And he's like, all right, little girl, you can come across too. And eventually you'd get a chance to cross. Or there's another option. The other option is, let's say, a couple days go by, and Bomb dies. She makes a poor choice in class. I'm like getting angry. I'm like, ah! When I strike Bomb down, she's like, ah! And now she dies. Once she's dead, we have her body. Mama and Papa Macbeth go over to Mama and Papa Bomb. They're like, hey, sorry that your daughter died. That's real sad. But we couldn't put a gold coin with our kid's body. Can we put one with yours? And what Mama and Papa Macbeth would do is they would scribble on there, Allie Macbeth. And then they would go over and open up Bomb's mouth and then drop their coin in next to her coin. Bloop! And then close up her mouth with both coins in there. When Bomb gets to the underworld, she'd show up like, Pah, there's my coin. Allie. Macbeth are like, that's mine! And she'd run over there and grab it and be all excited. Now, in the underworld, both of them get a chance to cross. They can high-five each other. Whee! And life is good. Or, Mama and Papa Bomb, let's say that Bomb has older brothers who are off fighting in a war, and we think that they've died and we can't give gold coins to their bodies because they're off on the battlefield somewhere and we're never going to get there. Mama and Papa Bomb would put extra gold coins in Bomb's mouth. They'd open it up, and like a little chipmunk, they would just start shoving gold coins in there. Burka, 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 burka. Like, and while you're down there, make some new friends. Burka, 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 burka. And she gets down there and her cheeks are all full. She's like, oh, oh, like a little slot machine. Like, gold coins come flying out. And Kendra now gets to make friends in the underworld. She's going to make it rain. She's like, have some gold coins. And all of a sudden, all of these friends are with her, and they get a chance to cross. Now, Allie and Bomb and all of Bomb's new friends cross to the other side. When you get to the actual underworld, there's still something there to prevent you from going any further. And it was the guardian of the underworld, a creature whose job it was to prevent living things from going any further.
Dragon.
Finn?
Cerberus.
And what is Cerberus?
He's a three-headed dog.
A big three-headed dog. And Cerberus's job was to prevent anyone from, any living person from going any further. Because Charon didn't care if you were dead or alive. As long as you gave him a gold coin, you could cross. Cerberus's job was to keep living people out. They have a photograph of Cerberus from the time. This was someone who managed to get down there and take it before he bit them.
Oh, no.
I have no idea why he's pregnant. Apparently he had little baby Cerberi. I also don't know why that guy's doing naked push-ups. Apparently it was a very expensive place. But that's our disturbing picture of Cerberus. So the idea here being, let's say now that both Macbeth and Bomb are gone, and all of a sudden Bicknell's like, I miss having them in class, life is not the same. And so Gracie decides that she's going to go down there and free all of them. So she puts on her armor and grabs her sword, finds the special path down to the underworld, and she's like, I'm going to save you. And she comes running down to that big open room, sees the river Styx, takes the gold coin, she's like, take this, old man, and throws it at Charon, gets on the boat, crosses across the entire river, hops off on the other side. She can see Allie and Kendra. She's like, girls, I'm coming. And she comes running up there, and the dog just roar and eats her. Now, all of a sudden, Gracie has died. Once Gracie dies, what happens to her? She reappears back over there on that side. It's like resetting the level in the video game. Like, I was so close to the end. And you have to go back and replay everything. Same idea. Unless she was smart enough to do what?
Kill him.
Well, or kill him. But the problem is when she gets here, can she get back across?
Yeah, with a coin.
No.
What about the coin?
Does she have a gold coin?
Maybe.
If she doesn't have a gold coin, she's stuck over there. If she was smart enough while the dog was eating, she's like, ow, it tickles! And she grabs the golden coin, is like, gold, no, I'm going to get across. Then she's fine. If she forgets the gold coin, she's stuck there. If she remembers the gold coin, she gets to cross, like, hey, puppy, and the puppy doesn't care, and she crosses without an issue. Beto?
Why don't the dead, like the warrior person got into the waiting room, so why can't the people that aren't in the waiting room get out?
They could. It was just like this big, long path to get out, and it was supposed to be really hard to find for the confusing passages. And the idea was you wanted to get down here, although I don't know why, because you'll see what the underworld's like in just a moment. When you get down there, they had this area that was called the Asphodel Fields. And the asphodel fields was what the Underworld, that's the official name of the asphodel fields. And I'll talk about those people in a moment. And so you have this asphodel fields. That's where everybody goes. Good or bad, you went to the asphodel fields. If you were an incredible person, you were known as Bob the Baby Saver, and all you did is go around and save babies, you go to the asphodel fields. If you were known as Billy the Baby Stabber, and all you do is stab babies nonstop, you go to the asphodel fields. Everyone goes there. And it was just this big, empty cave. And you just wander around going, look, a rock, another rock, dead guy, another rock. And that's all you did. You just wandered around the whole time. There was no torturing. There was no burning and like pits of fire and people stabbing you. It was just wandering around. You had Hades sitting up there on his throne. You had Mrs. Hades sitting on her throne for part of the year. And then just lots of dead people. Until one day, Zeus decides to add a new section. It was the section that had been there for years, but previously it only had Titans in it. Until suddenly Zeus decides he wants to start adding humans to this section. And that section is?
Tartarus.
The pit of Tartarus. And so suddenly he opens up this other area. He goes, hey, Hades, there's a couple people who really made me mad, and I would like to torture them down there in your area. Do you mind if I open up Tartarus to torturing humans? Hades goes, do I have to talk to him? Zeus goes, nope, I'll take care of everything. He's like, yeah, sure, not a problem. So Zeus brings a few special people down to the pit of Tartarus. Is this where Billy the Baby Stabber goes? Nope. This is not for people that go around hurting other humans. The only way to get to Tartarus as a human was by making Zeus mad. You had to do something to personally insult Zeus. And it could be simple stuff too. Let's say Zeus gets a brand new pair of KDs, and the first day he gets them, you go and scuff the toes, and you're like, scuffy toes, ha ha, what do you think about that? Zeus would be like, to the pit of Tartarus with you! And he would take you down. You had to make him mad. If you went out there and like insulted other gods, you're pretty much out of luck. It would only be making Zeus grumpy, he would send you down. And I have some fun stories we'll get to of people who made Zeus mad. Then, for a long time, we just had these two sections. Tartarus for people who made Zeus really mad, and everyone else. And then one day, Zeus has a human that makes him really happy. This guy who does something special for him, this great hero in a battle, or figured out how to get scuff marks off brand new KDs, or something like that, where Zeus is like, you know what? I want to do something for you, but you're going to die and go to the Underworld. So Zeus goes, here's what's going to happen. We're going to create a whole new area in the Underworld called the Elysian Fields. And the Elysian Fields becomes a happy place. It's got meadows and grass and bunny rabbits and rainbows and butterflies and Hostess Twinkies, and it's wonderful, and you get to go there if you do something to impress Zeus. Like sacrificing to him? No, Zeus could care less about that. You had to go out and personally do something to get on Zeus's good side. And Zeus would send you here instead. Very few people would get sent here. But you had a choice. If you came here, you could choose to be reborn. If you died and go to the Elysian Fields, and you're like, oh, that was fun, but I think I'd like to be a human again, you could choose to go through the whole process, get a new string from the fates, and go through life all over again. If you did that, the drawback is, while you're alive, you have no memory of being here, no memory of any of this, no memory of your previous life. So if you end up going through your second life and you're just a normal person, you would come back through, and that's where these judges come in. And there's these three dead kings. They were all sons of Zeus, and they were all kings. There was King Minos II, King Rhadamanthus, and King, I forget his name. And so these three, when you showed up, they would decide whether you were good enough to go here a second time, or whether you would get stuck in this area. Very few people would be like the second time, like, oh yeah, you're still awesome. I'm impressed, dude. Over you go. And they send you here a second time. Here's where it gets tricky. If you make it there twice, if you could do it a third time, and one more time, you get reborn, go through life, and the judges send you there a third time, you don't go there on your third time. You get to go to a whole new place called Isle of the Blessed. Isle of the Blessed was not even in the Underworld. Isle of the Blessed was up on Mount Olympus. And it was the idea of Isle of the Blessed was you got to become a Titan. They had this special formula. They would feed you. You would become a god. You got to hang out with them. You got to go to Mount Olympus. And it was the greatest thing that could ever happen to you if you got sent there 3 times. There's only one drawback. I can't find any stories of people who get sent there. I can find references to its existence, I can find them saying how to get there, but I can't find like any stories of Joe the Great who got sent there. They just say it's there. I can find stories of heroes that go here. I have tons of fun stories of people sent here. Pretty much everyone gets sent there. But this area, I can't really find. Vito.
You said the 3 judges were dead gods?
Dead kings. They're sons of Zeus.
Yeah, but aren't they half gods then?
They are half god. Half gods could still die. It just wasn't as easy. And so we'll get to some stories coming up of half gods dying. Heracles is half god, and Heracles dies. It's just you have to put a lot of effort into it. And they put a lot of effort into it. Speaking of, the people who are sent to Tartarus. I have 4 stories that we're going to get a chance to get into about people who make poor choices and make Zeus mad. The first one is this guy by the name of Tantalus. Tantalus started off as a friend of Zeus. Zeus met this guy, this normal human, and Zeus really liked him. And Zeus goes, you know what? I like you so much, I'm going to invite you up to Mount Olympus. And he brings this guy up to Mount Olympus and starts giving him this special drink that allows him to see the gods in their true form without dying. This goes on for years. And this guy starts coming up to weekly dinners with the gods, hanging out with them all the time. The drawback is he becomes unimpressed with the gods. He hangs out with them so often, he starts thinking the gods aren't that special. It's like if you got to go hang out with Hollywood actors. We won't get a chance to find out. The good news is, I am going to give them to you as stories that you get a chance to read, but I won't get a chance to tell them to you.
I think I just had
Tomorrow, we're